You've been told. Be direct. Just ask her. Shoot your shot. But here's the truth. No one tells you. A woman doesn't say yes because you asked with words. She says yes when your presence speaks louder than your mouth. This isn't about playing games. It's about mastering a deeper language, the silent language of leadership, confidence, and emotional control. Stop asking. Start leading. The truth is, when you ask a woman for intimacy with words like, "Can I?" or "Is it okay if?" you instantly shift the energy from connection to calculation. Now, instead of feeling drawn to you, she starts thinking. She starts weighing. She starts deciding if she should or shouldn't. And here's the secret most men miss. A woman doesn't fall into intimacy because she made a smart decision. She falls into it when the moment feels so natural, so safe, so right, that she stops thinking altogether. Women surrender when their heart feels safe, and their body feels wanted, without words forcing them into a yes or no choice. So instead of asking, you guide the moment. You hold your space. You give her an energy that feels steady, certain, confident. It's in how you look at her. Not hard, not intense, but with a calm assurance that says, "I'm here. I'm not nervous. I'm not desperate. I'm not rushing." And when you hold eye contact just a little longer than usual, something subtle happens. She feels it. Her heart rate changes. Her thoughts slow down. She leans into your calm, even if she doesn't realize it. That's leadership. Not with words, but with presence. You're not asking for permission. You're holding a space where permission isn't even needed, because both of you already feel what's happening. And this isn't about being cold or trying to act tough. It's about knowing that your calm confidence gives her the safety she needs to let go of control and just feel the moment with you. When you stop asking, you stop making her think. And when you stop making her think, you allow her to feel. That's when real connection happens. Not when she says yes with her mouth, but when her heart says yes before her words ever do. Invitation, not request. When most men want something from a woman, they ask for it like they're asking for a favor. But attraction doesn't work that way. A request feels like pressure. It puts her on the spot. It makes her feel like she has to give you something. And that pressure? It kills the moment before it even starts. Because when a woman feels like she has to decide, she pulls away. Not because she doesn't like you, but because something about the request felt needy, uncertain, off. But an invitation feels completely different. An invitation doesn't ask. It suggests. It opens a door and lets her choose to walk through it because she wants to. An invitation stirs curiosity. It sparks interest. It makes her feel like the moment is growing naturally, without any push or pull. Instead of saying, "Can I kiss you?" you might say, "I like how close you're standing right now." Or instead of, "Do you want to come over?" you say, "I wasn't planning on company tonight, unless that changes." You see the difference? One feels like a question. The other feels like an inside moment you're both part of. The first puts you below her like you're hoping for approval. The second puts you beside her like you're sharing a connection. That's the art of invitation. It's soft confidence. It's playful suggestion. It's making her feel like this is happening because it feels right, not because you asked. When you stop requesting and start inviting, you stop making her think, and you start making her feel. And once a woman feels something powerful with you, the words won't even matter. Create the space where yes feels natural. A woman's yes is never something you take by force or demand with words. It's not something you earn by trying harder or acting bolder. It's something that rises naturally, almost like it was her idea, but only when you know how to create the right space for it. That space isn't built with clever lines, gifts, or smooth talk. It's built with your energy, your presence, your ability to make her feel two things at once: safe and drawn in. Safety goes beyond her knowing you won't harm her. It's not about being harmless, it's about being grounded. It's about making her feel she doesn't have to be on guard, that she can stop overthinking, stop second-guessing, stop trying to control the moment. When a woman feels truly safe with a man, her body relaxes, her heart softens, and her mind lets go of its defenses. She stops looking for a reason to say no, and starts wondering why she feels so comfortable being close to you. That doesn't happen when you chase her approval. It doesn't happen when you try to win her over. It happens when you hold your ground with calm, steady confidence. Being drawn in? That's the other side of the equation. It happens when you're present fully in the moment, not rushing ahead, not trying to impress, not seeking permission. When you speak, slow down, not because you're trying to be mysterious, but because slowing your words removes pressure from the air. It gives the moment space to breathe. When you lower your voice, do it naturally, not to sound seductive, but because it calms both of you. A softer, grounded tone slows her thoughts down and makes her feel like this moment is unfolding naturally. And when you touch, do it with calm certainty, never with hesitation. One steady hand speaks volumes. A confident, light touch makes her feel wanted without making her feel trapped. Confidence isn't about being loud or acting dominant. It's about being unshakable, the kind of man who doesn't need to prove himself. When your energy says, "I'm fully in control of myself," and you're completely safe with me, something powerful shifts inside her. Her walls start to lower. Her heart opens without her even realizing, and the space between you feels charged, like something real is happening, even without words. Most men ruin this before it even begins. They get impatient, they overthink, they push. And the second they push, the moment collapses. But the man who holds the frame, who keeps his calm, stays rooted, lets things unfold at their own pace, creates a space where her yes doesn't feel like a decision. It feels like the most natural thing in the world. That's when intimacy flows. Not because you chased it, but because both of you felt it without trying. It's effortless, undeniable, and it only happens when you create a space that feels safe, steady, and real. When you stop rushing and start trusting the moment, you stop forcing her to choose, and you let her choose you, without even realizing why. Stay calm when she hesitates. Most men completely lose their power the moment a woman hesitates or gives even the slightest sign of pulling back. They freeze up inside. They get nervous. They start doubting everything they've done. And when that panic hits, they fall into one of two mistakes. Some start begging, asking over and over, trying to change her mind with words. Others start explaining themselves, over-talking, oversharing, convincing, pleading. But here's the reality most guys don't understand. The second you flinch, the second you show doubt or fear, you've already proven that your confidence wasn't real. Because if it was real, why would her hesitation shake you? When a woman feels that shaky energy, even if it's subtle, it tells her everything she needs to know about you. It tells her you're not grounded. It tells her you're seeking approval. It tells her you don't know how to hold the frame when things don't go perfectly. And that's when she pulls away. Not because she wasn't interested, but because you showed her you couldn't handle the moment without falling apart inside. A real man doesn't get rattled by hesitation. He doesn't see a no or a pause as a personal attack. He doesn't act like a boy whose feelings got hurt. He stays calm, completely steady. He respects her boundary, not out of fear, but out of strength. He holds his confidence like nothing about him changed. Because it didn't. That's the key most men miss. A woman's hesitation is often just her feeling the moment, testing the space, checking if you're actually the kind of man who can lead, or just another guy who breaks under pressure. And when you stay composed, when you hold your calm, and don't try to fix it, you show her something she rarely sees. A man who doesn't need her yes to feel okay about himself. And that right there, that's the shift. Because now, instead of thinking, he backed off because I said no, maybe he wasn't really confident after all. She's thinking, wait, why didn't he react? Why didn't he get upset? Why didn't he chase? That's where curiosity is born. That's when her no quietly starts turning into a maybe. And that maybe grows, because you became the calm she didn't expect. Women are used to men crumbling the second things don't go their way. They're used to guys flipping out, trying harder, or giving up completely. But when you hold the frame, when you stay calm and unshaken, you flip the entire script. You're no longer just another man trying to win her over. You become the man who knows how to lead a moment, whether she's leaning in or pulling back. And that makes you unforgettable, because the man who can handle her hesitation with quiet certainty, without getting needy, without chasing, without falling into insecurity, that's the man who earns her deepest respect, and often her deepest desire. And here's the truth most men never hear. A woman may say no for 100 reasons, some emotional, some logical, some instinctive. But almost none of those reasons are final when she feels your calm confidence holding steady. Because confidence, held firm in the face of her hesitation, makes her wonder about you long after the moment has passed. It makes her rethink. It makes her curious. It makes her question her own response. And in a world full of men who get shaken by every small rejection, you become the rare man who remains grounded. The kind of man who doesn't push, doesn't panic, and never loses himself, no matter what she says. That's real power. And that's the kind of energy a woman won't forget, because she probably hasn't felt it before. The Stoic way: lead with presence, not pressure. Stoicism isn't about acting cold, distant, or emotionless. It's not about pretending you don't care or faking a hard exterior. Stoicism is about knowing who you are so deeply that nothing and no one can shake you. It's about standing firm in your own energy. Even when the moment gets uncomfortable, even when the woman you desire doesn't react the way you expected, even when your emotions tell you to push harder, explain yourself, or win her over. Most men fall apart at that moment. They either push too hard trying to impress, trying to convince, trying to make something happen, or they shrink back, freezing up, getting awkward, letting their emotions take over. They fall into the trap of either chasing her or retreating into themselves like a scared little boy. But a Stoic man, he doesn't do either. He stays grounded. He holds the frame of the moment. He doesn't try to win. He doesn't try to control her reaction. And he never lets her behavior decide how he feels about himself. When she leans in, he stays calm. When she pulls back, he stays calm. He moves slowly, deliberately, with quiet confidence. He leads the moment, not by forcing anything, but by simply holding his presence like an anchor. His vibe says, I don't need anything from you, but if you want to come closer, I'm right here. That's how a Stoic man becomes magnetic. Not by chasing, not by convincing, but by being the one thing most women never experience: A man who is completely okay, completely centered, whether she leans in or walks away. And that's powerful beyond words. Because women aren't drawn to men who push for their approval. They're drawn to men who create a space where approval isn't even a question. Where being with him feels like a choice, a natural one, not a pressured decision. When you stop rushing, when you stop trying to explain your intentions, when you stop forcing anything to happen, you become the man who lets the moment do the work for you. Your calm speaks louder than your words ever could. Your stillness holds more power than 100 clever lines. Your slow, grounded movements create more attraction than any fake charm or try-hard tactic. Because here's the truth. Real attraction grows in the absence of pressure. When a woman senses that you'll be fine whether she says yes or no, when she feels that you're steady in yourself, that's when she starts leaning in. Not because you pushed her, but because your calm gave her space to breathe. And that space, that's everything. Because in a world full of men who rush, chase, fumble and overthink, you become the rare man who stands still, unbothered, unshaken, and fully present. And that presence does something to her. It quiets her doubts. It eases her defenses. It invites her to relax in a way she's never felt before. She starts to feel safe leaning toward you. Not because you made her, but because you gave her the gift of feeling free to. That's the heart of Stoic leadership with women. You don't win her over with effort. You don't pull her closer with pressure. You don't build attraction by needing her attention. You let her feel your calm presence. And you watch how the moment naturally unfolds. Because when a woman feels like she's in the presence of a man who isn't rattled by anything, she doesn't want to pull away. She wants to move closer. Because in you, she feels the one thing she can't find anywhere else. Peace in the middle of chaos. And once she feels that, she won't forget it. Because you became the calm in a world full of noise. And that's a man she'll always want to be near. Real intimacy is never something you can take by force, demand with charm, or earn by proving your worth. It's not a prize you win after saying the right words or making the right moves. It's something you invite in silence, in confidence by the way you are, not by what you do. And that invitation begins long before you ever touch her, long before you lean in, long before you say a single word about your desires. It starts with the way you carry yourself, the way you walk into a moment without rushing, without performing, without seeking any kind of reaction. It's in the way you look at her, calm, steady, certain, not with hunger, not with nervousness, but with a quiet knowing. It's in the way you speak, slow, intentional, with the kind of tone that makes everything feel safe. Like the moment can unfold naturally because you aren't trying to control it. It's in the way you hold your ground, not needing her attention, not hoping for her yes, not waiting for permission to feel like a man. When a woman senses this in you, when she feels your steady presence, your silent confidence, something deep inside her begins to relax. Not because you told her to, but because she feels she doesn't have to protect herself anymore. She feels seen. She feels understood. She feels safe. And in that space of safety, her walls begin to fall, without you needing to push, pull, or ask. This is the secret most men never learn. You don't make a woman surrender by convincing her. You don't make her open up by chasing after her or showing off. You make her surrender fully, freely, naturally, by letting her experience a man who doesn't need her yes to feel whole, but whose quiet strength makes her want to say yes on her own. Because when a woman feels like she's with a man who's steady, who can hold her, the moment, and himself, she doesn't wait for a request. She gives. Not out of pressure, but out of freedom, because you didn't try to take. You didn't reach out with grasping hands. You didn't fill the air with neediness. You simply invited her with your calm and gave her the space to step into the moment when it felt right for her. And when she gives, when she leans in, when she opens up, it's not something you forced. It's not something she regrets. It's something she feels deep in her soul, because it came from her, because you led her there without ever needing to ask. That's the difference between a man who tries and a man who leads, between the man who grabs and the man who invites, between the man who needs and the man who allows. And that difference, it changes everything, because the man who invites with presence, who holds himself with calm, steady certainty, becomes unforgettable. He becomes the man who stands out in a world full of takers, because he's the one man who never needed to take anything, and still ended up with everything freely given. So stop chasing her yes. Stop running after it like it's a prize you need to earn. Stop trying to force it with words, or win it with effort, or talk her into it with charm. Because the truth is, every time you chase her yes, you teach her that you don't believe in your own worth. You show her that you're hoping she'll make you feel like a man, instead of already standing as one. And that energy, it pushes her away before you even realize it. Because women aren't drawn to men who beg for their yes, or men who push for it, or men who make intimacy feel like a mission. They're drawn to men who know that when you create the right energy, when you hold the right presence, when you stay grounded in who you are without needing her approval, the yes comes naturally. Not because you asked, not because you performed, but because the moment felt right for both of you. That's real power. That's the kind of quiet confidence that speaks louder than any words ever could. When you become that man, the one who leads without chasing, the one who doesn't beg, the one who doesn't flinch when things don't go his way, you'll notice something strange start to happen. Women lean in on their own. They feel drawn to your calm, curious about your steadiness, magnetized by your quiet control. And intimacy stops feeling like some goal you have to reach. It stops feeling like a challenge you need to conquer. It starts feeling like the most natural result of who you are, something that flows freely because you didn't rush it, because you didn't pressure it, because you let it come to you. So if you're stepping into that kind of manhood, the kind of man who doesn't chase, who doesn't force, who lets his energy speak for him, comment below. I lead, I don't chase. Own it. Say it like you mean it. Because the world doesn't need more men chasing approval. It needs men who know who they are, who carry themselves with quiet strength, who create moments without needing permission, and who remind women what real presence feels like. And if you're becoming that man, follow for more real Stoic insight, the kind that doesn't just teach you tactics, but wakes up the part of you that you forgot was there all along, the part that never needed to chase. Because real men attract.